In a world full of distractions, there is one big question on every dog owner's lips.
How do I become more than just the person holding the other end of the leash?
We all get dogs with a dream in mind, a vision of the future. And if right now your everyday reality isn't quite that picture you had in mind, you are in the right place.
It really doesn't have to be this way.
You absolutely can and will be more to your dog than just the person who gets in between them and the world.
The key is you need to be more sexy.
More sexy than the neighbourhood cat.
More sexy than the jogger in the park.
More sexy than that half-eaten hamburger they just found on the floor.
And yes, even more sexy than the dog across the road.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Lauren.
Together we're Absolute Dogs.
And you're listening to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast. Hello and welcome to the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast, the podcast that gives you real life dog training results. Now, today is an extremely special podcast. Many of our amazing listeners will know all about Jasper, the brilliant little Jack Russell Terrier, who's featured in so many of our videos and so many of our lives. Such a skilled demo dog, he's been invaluable in helping us to teach you how to achieve real life results in so many ways. Now, sadly, Jasper passed away very suddenly from a totally unexpected illness, and both, all of the Absolute Dogs team and Michelle, his owner, were completely and utterly shocked. Everything was tried to help him pull through, but heartbreakingly, nothing worked and difficult decisions had to be made. Today, we'd love to really celebrate his life, because ultimately we know how many lives this little Jack Russell Terrier has changed. And we're talking to Michelle, and Michelle's joining us today, his awesome dog mum, to hear all about him and their amazing journey together. And I suppose also quite how much it's changed. Now, this is the first podcast I've ever done outside, and I am literally doing it for this purpose, that I know we need to change the energy, we need to change the state, we need to change this whole place, because to make something a celebration of life, you got to do something different, right? So welcome, Michelle. It's amazing
Hello.
to have you here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. A beautiful sunset.
It is a really beautiful sunset. So today is a gorgeous sunset. And I think that Jasper would definitely appreciate it.
For sure.
Him being the sun worshipper that
Yes.
always was. So a massive warm welcome to you, Michelle. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us. I know our listeners will be hugely grateful to have this opportunity to get to know Jasper and you even better, and I suppose to spend a little time feeling gratitude for everything he contributed to the work we do, helping people and helping dogs transform all over the world, including at our training center where he's played a huge part, and where he is now buried here. And so for me, it's kind of like a very significant space, and he would have, I can picture now, so I can picture that now. So he transformed struggles to strengths all around the world. Let's start at the beginning, and right at the beginning, where did Jasper actually come from? Because I know that he wasn't a Jack, and we were talking about this only the other day. I was like, he's not your typical Jack Russell Terrier in lots of ways. Yeah, for sure, he chased critters and lots of other things. But where did he actually come from?
So I had been for a training for a half marathon, and we were having breakfast afterwards with the group, and one of the girls said, "Oh, my neighbor has got puppies." And I was like, "Really? Puppies? What type of puppies?" "Jack Russell puppies." And we got chatting, and it turns out I knew Jasper's dad, Jackson. So I said, "Oh, can we go take a look?" So we went to have a look, sat on the floor, and the first puppy that crawled in my lap was Jasper. So he kind of picked me.
And so Bermuda, explain, what were you even doing in Bermuda? Because some people that would know you here might think, well, Michelle just lives here. Like, what were you doing in Bermuda?
So I was born and raised in Bermuda. I went to university in Canada, but my life was really in Bermuda. So I was a vice president at a reinsurance company. I was involved with horses. In my spare time, I was running. And I was involved a bit with agility, helping out at agility shows, helping friends when they went to classes and stuff. So I was really interested in dog training from a horse perspective. So it kind of all happened at the right time to get Jasper.
And was it Jasper that led you to find Absolute Dogs? Was he having any struggles, or did you want some help? Like, how did you find out about Absolute Dogs?
So when I first got Jasper, someone gave me your Pup to Perfection DVD.
How cool is that?
I know, it's really funny.
Baby Eliza, baby Eliza and Pup to Perfection crawling around. And I love that. I really, really love that. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And you came to Bermuda, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, May.
Yeah, that's actually insane, isn't it? Like, that really is insane.
Yeah. So the struggles we were having, he had chased chickens a couple times at the stables.
I remember.
Yeah. And that was one of the first things you asked me about, was what trouble did I have with him? And I explained about he chased chickens, and I've been told not to worry about it. Don't worry, he'll be fine. He'll stop doing it when he grows up. And I thought, he looked like he was having an awful lot of fun. It took us 20 minutes to get him back. I'm not sure I want him to do that again. And that was the first advice you gave me, was don't let that happen ever again.
Like, basically. Stop rehearsal.
Yes.
Stop rehearsal. Jasper, the chicken chaser. So then you started coming, I suppose, like you said, you were coming to in-person workshops, both in Bermuda and in the UK. Tell us a bit more about those and the conversations that then led you to the future here at Devon Dogs, because that's pretty magic.
Yeah. So when you were in Bermuda, I loved the training so much. I think we talked about signing up for Absolute Dogs, and I got my phone and I was like, right, I'm in London in 2 weeks. Can I come to Devon Dogs? And I was really insistent with you. And I was like, you've got too many friends on Facebook. It won't let me be friends with you. I can't get the information I need. And I was like really pushy. And then I got home, we agreed it. And then I looked at a map and I was like, Lord, how am I going to get from London to Devon on a Friday? I'll make this happen. So I came, that was my first time. 2 weeks after I met you, came out, and I couldn't bring Jasper. Like, that's not possible. So you lent me dogs, and I trained, I think, on the Saturday, like 8:30 in the morning till it got dark.
You were really on it, weren't you?
Yeah. Just as many dogs, as many experiences as you possibly could throw at me. I think I went through 3 trainers during the day.
Yeah, you were that sort of student that could just absolutely like be pushed. You really could be pushed. And I love that about you. And even though Jasper couldn't come with you that time, you were very ready. So how did Jasper get to the UK, and when did Jasper get to the UK?
So I think I messaged you when I was at happy hour one evening and said, right, I've just done my master's. Do you need someone in the office? And it happened that on that day, you found out that the office manager was going to move back closer to your family. And I did a Skype call with your mum. Fast forward a few months, September 2016, I dropped Jasper off at Barrowland, basically. Like, right, we're moved. Or he was moved.
Wasn't it? It was amazing. Yeah. Literally, and Jasper got on a little plane, and quite a big plane. And the little Bermuda boy moved from Bermuda, baby, to the UK, baby, and had a bit of a culture shock, right? Like, what was probably the biggest thing that Jasper struggled with when he first came here?
The rain.
Yeah. Like, he would literally, his little eyes would close and his little face would be like, I really, really, really hate this. Like, you could see his little face, like,
his little foot up. Ooh.
This is not cool. And he needed a sweater, didn't he?
Yes.
Just to manage it. He was like, I can't manage this. This is just too much. Like, it makes me giggle. So what were Jasper's, I suppose, changes? Like, how did he grow? How did he change? And what did you see at the beginning, and then what did you see at the end? Because I remember one of the biggest things I used to see in Jasper was whenever he wasn't sure of something, whenever he wasn't 100% happy with something, he would shake.
Yep.
Just do this little like shake, like he was shaking it off in some way, but he often didn't shake it off because he might need to shake again. And he was quite a timid little soul in a lot of ways. Like, he was quite shy. And he definitely was very aloof. And I remember one day taking him on the beach, and I'd said to you, like, I'm going to go on the beach and I'm going to see how he gets on. And you're like, yeah, he's been to loads of beaches and beaches are fine. And like, as in, he knows beaches. And I don't think you expected me to let him off, because I think you should explain to everyone here, what are the leash laws like in Bermuda? Because they're very, very different living with a dog in Bermuda to living here. And by the way, I love Bermuda, and I obviously love here. It's just a very different place to live with a dog.
Yeah, so you can't have a dog off lead in public. When you go to the beaches,
and do it like,
sorry?
Like, how about if you sneak and do it like on the beach and you just let them run? Like,
you can, just don't get caught. That's all.
No, I mean, it's a completely different place, isn't it? So if you go out in public, you leave your dog on a lead.
Yeah, lots of flexi leads in Bermuda, but you pretty much have to have your dog on lead.
Yeah. And is it enforced?
I'm not aware that it's enforced, but it's mainly other dog owners. If your dog's off lead and it runs over to somebody else's dog on lead, you will get told off. People aren't happy about that. And there's dogs, there's almost, I don't know what the stats are, but it's a very big dog community in Bermuda. So there's lots of dogs around, lots of people out walking dogs.
So basically, I remember taking Jasper to the beach and I let him off, and I literally just saw this little bullet run in the opposite direction from me, fast, for a long, long way. Like, he went a long way. He was gone. And I was like, really? This is interesting. I think I just lost Michelle's dog. Like, I was yelling, I was calling, there were no games. I was definitely not sexier than any squirrel or seagull or any sea life creature. Like, I was not sexy. He was gone. He was like a bullet. And he really only stopped when he reached the dog in the distance, which was a heck of a long way away. And I think he liked the UK in that way, but I don't necessarily think that we had any real relationship with Jasper. I think Jasper,
not at the beginning,
he was going, right?
Yeah.
So he had long range in him. So how did he change? What transformed him? How did he improve? What happened?
So the move to the UK, I saw a different dog. It wasn't the dog that I left Bermuda with. And now I can look back and say that was actually a good thing, because we missed how much confidence he lacked. So typical terrier, seemingly outgoing, seemingly at that point, I thought he was larger than life, but he really wasn't. And the move to the UK, we recognized how little confidence he had in that first year. He was really shut down. Like, he didn't participate in the world. And when we started to break through that, ditching the bowl, lots of confidence and optimism games, and tiny sessions, keeping it really easy and straightforward for him, all of a sudden we started to see the little sparkle. Someone commented in my one-to-one today. They said, God, he always sparkled on camera. And you started to see little glimmers of it, but it did take almost a year to start to see that.
And you were really perseverant with it. You were really, really like doggedly gritty and determined. And the one thing you would do, which I think was really, really important, is you had the willingness to put him away when it was too much. Yes. And to say, I'm not doing this training class today, or I'm not doing this workshop today. And you'd often work another dog, one of the other trainers' dogs, or one of my dogs, or like, I know Classic worked with you, Everest worked with you. I know that we had lots of cool opportunities, but you were very willing to say, this is him done. Like, he needs to go away. And he definitely taught you that. I love him in the background. He looks amazing. So anyone who catches this on video too, he is just, that's so Jasper, isn't it?
It's him.
Game changer boy. So were you worried that you'd made a mistake? So maybe when you moved him to the UK and you saw this different dog, did it ever like worry you or wobble you, or even the fact that he wasn't as confident, or maybe even he wouldn't make a demo dog? Were you ever worried in that process?
Yeah, and mainly the doubt came in when I signed up for a workshop, paid for a workshop, was super excited to kind of have him work, and I brought him out and he wouldn't even make eye contact. Mm-hmm. And I'm waving chicken and I'm running around and I'm throwing stuff, and he's like, no, thank you. And then you kind of think, what have I done? And I guess a lot of empathy for other owners of NBN dogs. I was really embarrassed. Like, I've paid all this money, everyone's watching what we're doing. He's supposed to be this great dog, and I can't even get him to engage with me. He's staring at the walls.
It raises such a brilliant point. And I've even had it like with my crew, where I'm like, oh my God, I'm a dog trainer. What if they do something wrong? And I think you get that, like, what if they do that? And how does that reflect on what people would think of my dog training? Like,
yes.
And this is when you've got to turn that attitude, isn't it, to an attitude of expectation in them, to appreciation for what they are, and then show the world what they are and how you're going to work with it. Yes. And I think you did that really, really beautifully, Michelle. I think you did that in a really, really great way, because you didn't hide any of Jasper's flaws. You didn't hide any of the journey. And at the end of the day, this is something I hit in dog sports all the time. I'm like, they're your dog. So you know what? If they have an off day, this is your dog. Or if they have a nervy, wobbly day, this is your dog. And so ultimately forgive them for being a dog and celebrate the fact that they're a dog. And I think you did that really, really nicely. I really do. So what kind of things did you do to help him? And were there some foundation games that were really key for him? Like, what were the things you did to help?
Well, the biggest thing was taking your advice and embracing the help that I was given by you, Tom. I did consults with Tom. You helped me hugely with him. So it's listening to the advice I was given and then putting it into practice. And some of the advice was really hard to take. Thinking, what am I, like, work him less, give him 2 days off? Like, is that the right thing to do?
That was such a thing. I know when we had lessons and group classes and workshops, and I mean, you came here before you even moved here and had like intense training.
Yes.
And you then, when you started here, you literally did every training session you could. But the one thing I think you did brilliantly that so many people can't do is you did come sometimes without him.
Yep.
That seems alien, doesn't it? That you're coming to a workshop or a class and you're arriving here in Devon and you're in-person training and you didn't have your dog. Like, that just seems freaking nuts. Like, hang on a second, what are we doing here? But actually, who are we most working on?
So that probably helped me the most with him, because I learned how to do the things with another dog before I did it with him.
And who are we working on at that point?
Me.
Yeah, and we're working on, and this is the thing I'd love to get out to all of the people listening to the Sexy and the Squirrel podcast. Most of all, when our dogs aren't doing what we want them to do, who do we need to work on?
Yeah, it's handler, it's us. So most of, like, the most important thing was getting the mechanics, me learning the games and taking it and teaching it to Jasper.
I love that. I mean, that's what we do, right? We do proximity. We do concept training. And this is something you're great at. Now, having a dog like Jasper, for those people that don't know, Michelle is a dog trainer full-time, and she's a dog trainer full-time. My head trainer here, in fact, at Devon Dogs, in the heart of Devon and the home of Absolute. Now, when you're being a full-time dog trainer, do you take lessons from what Jasper has taught you? Does he get into your lessons?
Always. He's not with us, but he's my best demo dog still.
And he really is, right? Like, he really is. And I think it's a tough one. It is a very, very tough one, and it's very raw still. And at the same time, I definitely see him around here. He's definitely around here, and he's a cool he's strutting his stuff. He's trotting and prancing across the field,
sparkling away.
Sparkly magic hand, literally going all the way. Now, when was the first time you felt like you turned a corner together? When did you feel he transformed into Jasper 1.0, we used to call him, didn't we?
I can't remember a specific time, because it kind of it evolved. I'd have little glimmers of it, and then he would go backwards a bit. It was like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. But it was definitely after the first year, all of a sudden I had a new dog, and it was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. So it was probably the summer of 2017. Started to see this dog appear, and kind of commented. It was a filming day. I'm fairly certain it was a filming day, because I remember commenting to Tom, and we joked about Jasper 1.0. Like, where'd this dog come from? Because he hated Tom when he first got to Devon.
And that's so funny. He truly did. And what a change, what a transformation. He just kept blossoming, kept growing, kept developing, right to the point that we were calling him Jasper X. So what are some of the milestones that come to mind on that journey that you'd like to celebrate today, from the Jasper that came off that plane to the awesome demo dog Jasper?
One of the lives we did when he actually played on camera. So that was I know that's common for a lot of NBN owners. Your dog plays at home, plays in your living room. You take them out and they won't touch a toy. And I had the same struggle.
Yeah, it's so common, isn't it? Like, it's something we see all the time. And I suppose for our listeners who might also teach, do you have some tips for how to create an amazing demo dog?
Boundaries, more boundaries, and more boundaries. Lots of confidence games. And don't put too much pressure on them. So set them up for success. Like I think we did with your help. We did that really well. So he learned and grew to be a demo dog in little small incremental steps. And one of your best advice to me was just once. And that was a hard and fast rule with him initially. he only came out and demoed once a day. That's it. So
you were really good on that. You became very disciplined.
Yeah.
Like you definitely started to really, and the reason for that advice for me was he came out, he was polished, he was brilliant, and that was him done. He was done. It wasn't let's do this again, let's do this again, let's do this again. He wasn't a repetition style dog actually. Now he had a few favorite things. A couple of my favorite memories would be Jasper playing with his frisbees. He loved his frisbees.
Yes.
And then Jasper in the swimming pool. And one of the funniest things was you leaving Bowland in your swimming costume, which I just find hilarious because we live on London and you were in your swimming
normal in Bermuda.
It was funny. It was just dead funny. And you were like, yeah, I'm going home like this. I was like, okay, goodbye. Like it was just dead funny. Any of your favorite sort of his favorite things or some of the things he loved to do or your favorite memories?
One of my favorite things in our downtime that I would do with him was on a warm day, put the paddling pool out. He loved it. Even though he didn't like rain, he'd get in his little paddling pool and he just absolutely loved it.
But you know what? It's no different, is it? We would have like a paddling pool on a sunny day. So I think Jasper just had some great sense, didn't he? What key bits of advice would you give to someone who has a naughty but nice dog? Because actually Jasper really did give you, I think, even more passion for working with naughty but nice dogs, because Jasper certainly was naughty but nice in his own way and never in a bad way. But yeah, what advice would you give people?
Do what's right for your dog. So one of my biggest learnings with Jasper was walks weren't right for him. So he didn't go for walks. Once in a while, we'd go for a walk, but being a demo dog, doing a bit of agility, the type of games that we were playing, all of that was more than enough for him. Doing some search work.
That is amazing. Like he loved his search. He loved his version of walks. He loved doing the agility. He was a great agility dog. And he loved, really, really loved being a demo dog. And so actually these were his walks. And it's reshaping your mind to making that work. So I really think that you get the dog you need. Do you feel the same way with Jasper?
Well, game changer Jasper. And he made me a game changer. So I learned so much from him. And one of my biggest learnings from him is he went from a dog that was really pessimistic to one that was optimistic. And that last year, he loved every moment.
Yeah, and he really did. He really did. He literally, like someone said today, he sparkled. Now, I know it's hard to talk about, but there's so much I want to celebrate and how much I suppose how you've processed Jasper's passing. And I think our listeners could learn so much from this. His illness was a massive shock. Obviously I was here, you were teaching, our team were here, and literally within a few hours it went from Jasper having a seizure to us making really serious decisions. And I think that actually you didn't have any time to even imagine, I suppose, coping with a life without Jasper, and we were not expecting to have that sort of thing happen on one day. And yet you've absolutely blown me away with how you've chosen, and I'm using that word really intentionally, chosen to process what's happened. And of course we know that grief is there, and of course we know that this is a process and a journey, but actually you've done really well in this and in how it's happened. Now, what have you done specifically to empty your bucket to help you, to keep you focused on positive things? I can think of a couple, and you're welcome to share them, but
so
think of a couple.
I guess it was taking what I've learned from things that have happened to me in the past and being a better person. So I'd lost a horse suddenly as well, and I didn't handle that very well. So one of the things that it was a shock, it was sudden with Jasper. I kept taking myself back to celebrating him. So celebrate that I had the joy of him in my life for a short time. Getting involved back again with the horses was a big help, massive help.
I think it was a week, wasn't it? And like, should we go on a road trip? Let's go on a road trip. And we went looking for one horse, and what did we find, Michelle? 2? Yeah, 2 horses. And in February, we had no horses. And then in April, we had how many horses? 3. Yay, 3 overachievers, I feel. So we are the best overachievers going. I'm very happy with that. So how's that been good for you to decompress?
Just having something that brings me joy. Going out, spending time with the horses in the fresh air. The stables that the horses are kept at is absolutely stunning. It's just got such good energy. The people there are really good energy, and like surrounding yourself with joy. And that's so like I really have a huge appreciation for that now. I always thought I had it, but like losing Jasper really makes you appreciate every moment. Like the sunset behind you.
I agree.
It's stunning.
Even more.
Yeah.
It makes you, and the night that we lost Jasper, it was a strange day, to be honest. I was supposed to be away, wasn't I? I was supposed to not be here. I was supposed to be, I can't remember where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be somewhere and I couldn't go. And I can't even remember why I couldn't go, but I couldn't go. And so I was at home, and I'm so glad I was at home, because I was there to give you a hand in lots of ways, in working out what on earth was going on, and what the decision making was behind it, as in how quickly we needed to change the vet plan and who we needed to do. But we were on our way to like specialist plans, weren't we? And then that detoured when Jasper went into cluster fitting. And basically, I think that evening was one of the most beautiful evenings. Like, it was a beautiful evening. I don't know if you want to share where we were and what we did.
Yeah, so we went, you bundled me into the car, basically. Come on, roast dinner, let's go. So we went and had the most amazing roast dinner. And then went and we tried to find some ruins where the sunset is really beautiful, like what you've got behind you right now. So we're trotting over the moors trying to find a circle of stones, and it's like on our Google Maps, Matt's running one way, Eliza's running another, trying to find the circle of stones.
My mum and dad behind complaining, dad saying, could I not have just had the roast dinner? So it really was I just wanted the roast dinner, really. Anyway, we came around a corner and
there it was.
Like you said, you guys have been running, and there it was. And who found it? Because you guys found it, right?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a group effort.
It was a great group effort. And at the same time, when we got there, how beautiful was it?
It was stunning. It was such a gorgeous evening. Just like I've got photos. The photos don't do it justice.
And it's a magical place with really magical energy.
Yes.
That's one of the places that I absolutely remember Jasper.
Yeah.
That is a Jasper memory. Like, for me,
definitely.
That's beautiful. It's called Score Hill. It's a stone circle, and loads of different tales that you can find about Score Hill and the stone circles. There's loads of stone circles. But yeah, absolutely powerful stuff. Really powerful stuff. What else, in terms of when you say like turned it into positive things, what else have you managed to do to turn something positive?
Just focusing on the dogs I have now and all the things that Jasper taught me, and making sure that I take those learnings and teach it to the dogs I've got with me right now. So not wasting the time I had with him, instead flip it around and teach the next group of demo dogs, the next Jasper wannabes, get them going, and not to forget that he's still there.
Yeah.
So to the listeners, to everybody in Absolute Dogs, he's still there.
And I love that with the videos, is it makes something eternal, right? Like the memories are there forever, so it makes it eternal. Now, I just want to say again, I'm so proud of how you've coped with this experience, and I know everyone in our Game Changer community is immensely proud of you and is behind you. I hope you're proud of yourself, and that this has shown you just how strong and empowered and grown that you are. I know you've been inundated with messages and people saying how much joy Jasper's brought them. And I imagine that makes you smile immensely. And I know that Jasper, like you said, he is present in so many ways. So I think that's very special.
And a massive thank you to you, because there's no way I could have gotten through. So when you go through a decision process like that, you need the support, you need the information, and that was really hard. But then to get all the messages from everybody, I didn't appreciate how many people he touched. So if anything, that, I mean, tears, lots of tears, because it was just so heartfelt to get the messages back from people. But then realizing he's touched so many lives. How cool is that? I'm just a small part of his life. Like, he's impacted people at Devon Dogs, the whole Absolute Dogs community globally, and he'll keep doing that. So even though people may not meet him, they'll see him on the videos. He's going to keep inspiring people. And that makes it all worthwhile.
And his energy, they will meet and they will see. And
the sparkle.
And that sparkle is there and dispersed in so many different ways. So very, very special there. So, wow, I suppose that's been such an emotional and special episode of the Sexiness Girl podcast. Thank you so much, Michelle, for letting us to get to know Jasper even better, and also your relationship with him, sharing on how to navigate such a stretching and certainly a testing time. And he really does show what's possible through games-based learning and training, from naughty but nice Jasper to the immense Jasper X, unrecognizable from when I first met him for sure, a completely different dog. And the journey he's taken you on has been literally life-changing for you and in turn so many other people. All our love to you, and we'll all smile every time we see Jasper featuring in one of our videos, because I know that's the best thing. He lives on through the videos, and thank you for bringing him into our lives. He already has and will continue to grow such a beautiful legacy. Now, one thing I do know is there's been a little, and I'm probably not supposed to tell you yet, but there's been a little bit of a fundraiser for some special bits for you to remember him by. They haven't quite made it here yet, but they are definitely making it here, so you're going to have lots of
thank you
future moments. I hope that everyone that's listening gets to hear quite how much both Michelle, myself, all of the Absolute Dogs team have tried to make this a celebration, not something we get sad about. Jasper would hate the idea that everyone was sad. He was a happy little terrier, very unusual in so many ways. He liked other dogs. He was a sweetie, and so for me, I know personally that celebration is the goal. Yes. Huge well done for that, Michelle.
And thank you. And he's still here. He's right there.
There he is, game changer, Jasper.
And thank you, everybody.
No, that was incredible, Michelle. And that was this episode of the Sexiness Girl podcast, a really, really special podcast, just explaining to each and everyone listening how we get the real life results we do, and then how we maybe take some of that learning and change it into our own life transformations. Huge hug coming across the screen.
Thank you.